And starting on your back with your knees bent. You can put a small pillow under your head if you want. And breathing into your lower abdomen, letting your belly relax, inhaling, and on the exhale, drawing your abdomen in. Inhaling gently through the nose and exhaling out of your mouth. Feeling that deep abdominal contraction or gentle pulling in on the exhale, and the relaxation on the inhale. And now draw the abdomen in like you've just practiced. And on the inhale, expand the sides and back portion of your ribs. And on the exhale, feel your ribs get a little narrower. You can still inhale through your nose and gently exhale out of your mouth. Keeping that lower abdomen drawn in, or thinking of your navel drawing in. And now rocking your pelvis, doing your pelvic tilt, or gently rocking your pelvis a little bit up and down. So you decrease the space in the small of your back, and then you increase the space in the small of your back. It's very small, and then you find your midpoint. You use that to find what's your most comfortable position. Where do you feel best for your back? And bringing one leg up into tabletop, and then the alternating, lowering it down, and other leg comes up. And here you're testing your stability. You found that back position that's best for you today. If you can, keep the tiniest amount of space at your low back, as though you were standing. But you choose what's right for your body as you alternate, bringing one leg up, lowering it down, and then the other, to test your stability. Now moving your pillow away if you have one, so there's nothing under your head. And we're going to come up into a small bridge. If it's comfortable for your back, you can roll up one vertebra at a time and roll down one vertebra at a time. If it's not, you can do this keeping your back in a position that's comfortable for you. You can also make this very small. I'm practicing the breathing that we've been working on. The arms are heavy, the shoulders are down. And then if you want a pillow, you can go ahead and put it back under your head. Finding your best low back alignment, pelvic alignment, and one leg up into tabletop, and then the second leg up. And you can place your hands against your thighs, lightly push your thighs into your hands and your hands into your thighs, and see if you can feel a little bit of a low abdominal contraction, and then relax that. And exhale, thighs into hands, hands into thighs, just to feel that deep engagement in the lower abdomen, and relax. And one more time, exhale, press and hold. And then moving the arms up towards the ceiling. Legs are in your tabletop, arms reach up and down. Shoulder blades go up towards the ceiling and down towards the floor. And then opposite arm and leg reach away from your center. So Again, challenging that stability. So you're in a position that feels good on your body, your back is stable. You might feel some abdominal engagement supporting this position. And lowering one foot down, other foot down, and the arms come down. You can gently sway your knees to one side and then use your abdominals to bring them back to parallel, alternating sides. Just a gentle movement. You can even use that exhale to pull the legs back up into parallel. And moving on. One leg into tabletop, other leg up into tabletop. And you're going to go into your toe taps, but your toes do not have to actually touch the mat. You can adjust your tabletop to make it easier. It doesn't actually have to be a 90-degree angle. So find the position you can support. For more of a challenge, you reach the toes a little farther away. Also, for more of a challenge, you can flex the feet and do a heel tap. And this is all meant to challenge your stability. If you want even more of a challenge, you can lower both legs and keep it in a range of motion you can support. So it can be very, very small. One foot down, other foot down. And go ahead and hug your knees and give them a little stir in one direction. And then reversing. Feet back down on the mat. Arms overhead and down. So now you're moving your arms to challenge your stability of your torso. So as your arms come up, keep your ribs heavy. The lowest ribs still stay down or where they started. And you can alternate one arm up, one arm down, alternating here. And you might feel some light upper abdominal engagement, just supporting this motion. And keep it in a pain-free range of motion for your neck and shoulders. And both arms down and then up and circle around. Overhead and circle around. And overhead, maybe you go to ear level. And if you're in a small space, you can also open and then bend the elbows as you circle around. If you don't have enough room to do that with straight arms, just do it with bent arms. It's also a nice stretch. And arms come down by your hips again. Little head nod here. Dropping the chin, relaxing elongation for the back of the neck. Just to feel that ease and that first movement for the abdominal curl here. So arms up towards the ceiling, shoulders are down and wide, little nod of the head, and press your arms down and coming up into that curl. Little head nod, shoulders pressed down with the arms to feel that connection under the shoulder blades, or kind of in the side armpit area, helping you up, that connection of the arms into the torso. And again. And notice, are you able to keep your pelvis in the same position as you're doing this? Moving on. You can put a higher pillow under your head if you like to keep your head down for abdominal work. I'll be showing you a variety of options for the 100. So you can just do the breath of inhaling for 5 counts and exhaling for 5 counts. You can lift your arms slightly as you do that. Inhaling through the nose for 5, exhaling out of the mouth for 5. Another option is pulsing the arms as you do that, inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5 with a small pulsation of the arms. And head nod, option to do this in your abdominal curl. Your pelvis stays in that same position you found earlier. So we're doing our preparation here for the 100. Another option, one leg up. You can have just one leg up, or you can have both legs up in a tabletop, and you can keep your head down. Here you'd want a high pillow for that. Legs can be up towards the ceiling and slightly turned out so the heels are together. If your hamstrings are a little tight, you can bend your knees. And you can also lower your legs just as far as you can support. So that would mean pain-free on your back in particular. And then you can also do that up in your abdominal curl. So those are your options. Arms up towards the ceiling. And coming up into the curl. You also have the option of putting one hand behind your head if your neck is getting tired and you want to stay up, or even, and then go ahead, you can switch hands if you're doing that. So those are all your options. So pick which variation you're going to do, and I'll do a variety. You come up into your curl and start inhaling for 5 pulses and exhaling for 5 pulses. If your neck gets tired, you can put one hand behind your head. And then, of course, remember to switch hands about halfway through if that's the variation you're choosing. This can be done with the legs in tabletop. The head can be down on the pillow. Legs can be extended at a distance you can support. And you determine the height of the legs. And lowering down and rest. Gently turn your head from one side to the other side. And roll onto your side, come up to sitting. You can bend your knees. And get stacked up on your pelvis. Try and find those sits bones, those little nubbins when you sit in a chair that you might feel sometimes. Really get that upright posture through the torso and practice your breathing here, keeping some abdominal support, breathing into the sides and back portion of your ribs. Arms float up, shoulders are down and wide. Little bit of inner thigh support, a little bit of outer thigh support, so you can get that, and then hinging back. You could hold on to the back of your thighs if you need more support. Hinging back just a small amount, just to feel the abdominals kick in, and coming back up. For more of a challenge, arms are up. You can even imagine you're squeezing a ball between your hands if your arms are up. You can stay back and lift one arm and lower it, and then the other arm and lower it. Choose a variation that's right for you today. These are all options. And coming back up and rounding your spine, taking a little stretch here. And hinging back, next option is to lift both arms, either a small amount or towards the ceiling. Legs stay heavy. And keep your breath flowing. You can also hold the arms up and get a little endurance challenge. And then the arms come down and take a little stretch, a little round forward. Here's another option. You can have your legs together and roll back. You can hold onto the backs of your thighs if you need support and just go a small distance. You can have your arms up a bit. And same thing here, just a small distance. And the feet stay heavy on the mat. If you're familiar with the exercise and want to roll all the way down, you can go ahead and do that. And I'm demonstrating ways that you can use your legs for support by holding on to the backs of the thighs when you come up. Or not using the backs of your thighs and just rolling up with the arms extended. You can add that little stretch in. And again, if you're familiar with this exercise, you can have your legs extended, heels together, rolling back, feeling that length through the legs in opposition as you roll down, arms overhead. Exhale the whole way up here. Yeah. Into that stretch for the spine. And sitting up. If you have a band, go ahead and get that. You do not have to have a band to do this series. So if you're not using a band, you could just hold on to the back of your leg and do all of these. So you have the option for the standing leg to be bent or straight. It's your choice. I'm doing it with a bent leg. And now for the leg with the band, you're going to bend your knee and stretch up to the ceiling. Again, if you don't have a band, just hold on to the back of your thigh. Little bend and straighten here. And then you're going to, if you do have a band, get a good placement over those toes and the ball of the foot and point and flex. Point and flex. So we're just going to add that movement of the foot and ankle in here. And then circling. Pick a direction. You're going to circle your ankle about 4 times. Nice and smooth. And then reversing the circle. Circling. And then switching to the other foot, other leg. If you have a band, really get that good placement over the toes and ball of the foot. And bending your knee and straighten. All the while your pelvis stays in the same position. And then pointing your foot and flexing, pointing and flexing, point and flex, point and flex. And then preparing for the circles, circling the ankle. Yep. Circling your foot so you're moving through that point and flex. And reversing. Circling that. Yep, moving in the other direction. And then go ahead and move your band off to the side. Find that low back position, that pelvis position that's best for you. And we're going to do our single leg circle. So you have both legs bent to start with. And you're going to cross your center line and circle just shoulder distance. So it's more like a long oval where you're going a little bit up and down more than side to side. And then option to do this with one or both legs straight. If you're familiar with the exercise, go ahead and do that. If you're not, you're really working on keeping your pelvis stable. This is not so much of a leg exercise. Yep. And then bending the knee, we're going to reverse. You open just shoulder distance and then come down and around and cross your center line. So we do it with the bent knee so you can really feel, are you able to stay stable here? And then for more of a challenge, extend one or both legs. You open just shoulder distance and come down, up and around. Yep. And you can use your exhale to help with that swing up, that lift up. And switching to the other side. So we're doing 4 with the bent leg, going towards your center and around. You can put your hands on your hips to feel if you're staying stable or not. Option to extend one or both legs. And circling again 4 times. And bending and going the other way, opening just shoulder distance and coming down and around. Finding that stability. Option to extend one or both legs. If you are extending the bottom leg, the bottom foot is flexed and the leg is really heavy and pressing down. And hugging your knees. One foot down, other foot down. Find your best back position, pelvic alignment, one leg up into tabletop, other leg up into tabletop as we prepare for a single leg stretch. One leg reaches out and back in, other leg reaches out and back in. And we're starting towards the ceiling or a little bit lower if you're just learning this. Option to do this up in your curl. You've done your head nod to get up into that sit-up. Pelvis is in the same position you've been practicing. Option to put the outside hand at the ankle, inside hand at the knee. Outside hand at the ankle, inside hand at the knee. First, learn the leg movements and get stable, and then add the arms in. And then once you're comfortable with it, you can gently do a little pull press, a very gentle pull press, so that you're getting a gentle fold at the hip and at the knee. If your neck is getting tired, you can have one or both hands behind the head. And lower down and rest. And the full version, once you get comfortable with it, is to go a little quicker. And depending on your speed, you can either inhale for 2 and exhale for 2 movements, or inhale and exhale. And lower down, turn your head from one side to the other. We're to prepare for a double leg stretch. Both arms and legs extend up towards the ceiling and bend back in. Option to do that up in a curl, up towards the ceiling and bend back in. If that's easy for you, you can reach a little farther away from your center line and back in. And you're going to try and match the arms and legs. And then option to add the circling of the arms. Your head can be up or down. Just remember, if your head is down, you want to have a high pillow. Arms and legs reach away from you, and your arms circle around as you bend your knees. Keep breathing as you go, and lowering your head down, and lowering one foot down, other foot down, head rocks side to side to relax the neck. Roll onto your side to come up to sitting. Finding your sits bones. You can just stay on the mat, or if you're more comfortable, you can sit on something. Yep. And find those little nubbins at the base of the pelvis to help you sit upright. Really find that length. Little bit of abdominal support. Lightly press your heels down into the mat to feel the backs of your thighs engage. Your hands can be down on the mat, and you can walk forward with we're going to do it with a flat back first, and then come up. So that is one option, to do this with a flat back. Arms up towards parallel to the ground. Option to still do that with a flat back. And then if you can, you're going to do this with a rounded back. And it is like you're going up and over a big ball in front of you. You want to create length and opposition. So you grow tall, you stay tall as you pull the ribs back, as you pull the navel back as you round forward. Exhaling as you come forward. Inhaling as you come up. Exhaling, drawing the navel in and up to create length and support, and inhaling as you grow tall back up to sitting. Now coming forward with a flat back or a long spine, You can float the arms up, if that's doable, and hold this position. And then one arm comes down, other arm comes down, and round your back. We're going to move along into saw. Get upright on those sits bones. You can sit on a towel or blanket if you need. And your feet are a little wider than your mat. You're going to twist your upper body and then do that same motion you've just been practicing through the torso, that rounding with length. And coming back to center. And twist your upper body while your pelvis stays stable. That back arm does a little internal rotation when it goes behind you. A little internal. You can think of that palm coming up, but it's not about the palm. It's about finding that comfortable position for your shoulder. And you're gently reaching your front pinky finger to your front pinky toe, unless you're in a small space, and then you can have your arms overhead. If you're in a really small space, you can just do it like so.